Hi everybody, this is Theoral. You can find me on the Marvel Champions Discord, answering rules questions, or doing the Card Text podcast with Bob and Scott, where we explore various rules conundrums in the game, or here on YouTube, where I've been doing a variety of videos, largely a playthrough series, which has almost gone through every hero in the game, and every scenario in the game, not in every combination, but just at least once playing through each of them. And I've lately been doing a What If series where I talked about some potential alternative design decisions that could have been made around the hero packs. Today I want to look at risky business scenario and talk about kind of a what if risky business was a little riskier. For purposes of this game, we're going to be looking at risky business, obviously, and we're going to fight against it with Nova. I'm using a kind of standard Nova aggression deck. This isn't kind of the point of the video, but obviously it's a fun thing to do. It's a Hone Technique Dive Bomb deck. This Hone Technique Dive Bomb is great, and I've included some resource acceleration because he is great at getting started with resources, and being able to turn that into a long-term advantage is good. And then just mostly some events, Moment of Triumph, so we can recover without having to go alter ego, some allies, and card draw, and a resource that's good for all of our aerials and all of our champions, which this deck has a few. I did not do the full set of allies because who needs a full set of allies, really? Alright, so that's the deck. If you just want to check it out and see what's going on. I did include endurance because we're playing risky business. I mean, it's pretty good for Nova anyways. He's 10 hit points. He could use a few more, but it's specifically because going to risky business with too few hit points is a bad time. All right, so risky business. So I did this in the playthrough video, and I played it as though there was a crisis icon on the Criminal Enterprise side scheme, or on Norman Osborn, however you want to view it, that there's no way to thwart while he's in play. I personally, that was a solution that I came up with based on a discussion that was happening on Board Game Geek, where somebody was like, hey, I have an idea to roll this die and add some icons. And I was like, oh, you can just put a crisis icon on there. That seems like a really simple and obvious solution, and it was good. And, it's good. It's fine. I don't dislike it. It's fine as a solution. It's just that risky business is still a little bit of a lackluster scenario, and I described this in the playthrough video because there's a level of control that you have that is too much, I think. What I find when I play risky business is that when I'm flipping Norman, when I'm attacking him enough to turn him into Green Goblin, I get hit so hard, right, that I need to let him go back to Norman. But if I don't attack him, if I just leave him alone, if I just let Norman stay, then it's not that risky. I mean, yes, there's the threat of he could draw in advance. And in a solo game, that threat is real. In a two-player game, it's not too bad. Because really, even if he draws in advance, he's still only scheming once, and the threat threshold's too high. So the idea behind this is to give him a little bit more teeth in Norman form, basically. To add a little bit to it, to make things a little bit more interesting, ideally. So that largely comes down to these two treacheries, Mad Genius and All in a Day's Work. Well, I say largely. It comes down to three main things, and then a fourth thing that a change that I made because I like it. So let's talk about the three things. So the first one is these two treacheries. So All in a Day's Work is a treachery that just adds two Enterprise counters. Not a big deal. Mad Genius is a treachery which discards cards from your deck, the default card, and according to the number of counters here. And that's just not it's not a big deal. Like, it might discard enough cards that you get dealt another card, which just means that it could be like a card that has Surge. And, I mean, we don't love cards that have Surge, but if it has Surge and nothing else, then it's just like it didn't happen. So that card's not too bad. So we've got these two cards, which compose 6 of the cards in his encounter deck, which is not huge. 6 out of 32 cards. That's like a fifth of his deck. Well, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 31 plus 6, 37. 6 out of 37 cards. 1/6 of the deck. It's like rolling a d6 every turn. If you roll a 1, nothing happens. That's not... It's not great. I mean, because this only deals you an extra card if there's enough criminal enterprise tokens that it actually decks you, right? If there's not, it just discarded a couple cards. And maybe that was a key card for your build, and that's annoying. But it didn't set you back, and it didn't advance the win con. All right, so that's the first thing. Changing these to advance the win con. And this is pretty simple. All in a day's work, instead of just adding criminal enterprise tokens, it makes Norman scheme. So this alone makes Norman dangerous. Norman now has 6 cards in the encounter deck that make him scheme. It's not as bad as having him scheme all the time, which I find more annoying than anything else. So when you're in hero form and he's in Norman form, he's still not going to attack you. But this makes it so that there's just a fair chance that he's still going to scheme. And that's, troubling because it doesn't take too many schemings to get this out of control. The other problem with him scheming all the time is that then you're always in this situation where he could scheme and draw advance. So this kind of, and actually it happens a lot if he's always scheming, because the 3 cards in here that make him attack also make him scheme. So then he's scheming every activation and scheming 5 out of these encounter cards. That's a 1 in 6 chance that he double schemes. That gets a little excessive, right? And so I don't like that. So kind of the idea is there's now a 1 in 6 chance that he schemes. If you're trying to stall him in Norman form, there's a 1 in 6 chance that he's going to scheme every turn. There's about a 1 in 6 chance that he gets a side scheme, which is going to be a threat that you have to deal with. Anyways, and then there's some other stuff. So, okay, then there's Mad Genius. So Mad Genius is I'm punishing you for having too many criminal enterprise counters. And now, instead of trying to deck you out, it tries to deck out the encounter deck, which we've seen with Sandman. This is a fairly effective strategy anyways. In addition, it reveals side schemes. So the overall idea here should be that when he's in Norman, you're going to have to deal with threat. But it's not always game-ending threat, right? Side schemes aren't game-ending. They're just a little bit of extra threat to have to deal with. Now, in a many-player game, I can see this being bad. I don't know. I don't play much over 2 players. If you get up to 4 players, obviously this could hit hard. This number's already going to be bigger. These numbers are going to be bigger. This is like a super scaling card. So Norman's pretty dangerous in 4 players. But at the same time, you've got a lot of room here. And it's not game-losing. These are not game-losing effects. So I feel like personally that's not a bad situation to have these non-game losing effects, but just a serious setback. It's kind of the idea here. What I'm trying to get at, what I would like this scenario to feel like, and kind of my brain behind this, my ideas behind this, is that Goblin hits you hard, and then he hits you hard. He does 4 damage immediately, and then he's attacking you for 4 all the time. This is constant, just like hammering you. And because of that, it kind of makes up for the fact that Norman doesn't hit you at all. Well, this is attempting to do the reverse. Green Goblin doesn't scheme at all. So this is kind of hitting you with a lot of threat. So when he goes to Norman form, you can expect to see quite a bit of threat appear on the board. That's fine. You're having trouble dealing with threat, you flip him to Goblin. Now you're dealing with damage instead of threat. Ideally, these kind of balance each other out so that it's like he's scheming all the time or he's hitting you all the time. But it's a little riskier, and that's where I kind of have the risky business gets riskier, right? It's more extreme on either side, and that it could easily be pushed too hard. If it gets pushed too far, it stops being fun, I think. But it's one of the things that makes Green Goblin a unique scenario, and as long as it's not too hard, I think it can be fun. I do think that I know Boggs has talked about the initial design was something about this adding more threat to the main scheme, and I feel like that's the point where it gets unfun, because then it's just like, oh, you lose, sorry. By encapsulating it in the side schemes, it's no longer a loss condition, and that kind of makes it so that, okay, well, we let him go to Norman form, and now we have 20 threat to deal with. Let's flip him to Goblin so he stops adding threat to the board and deal with all these side schemes. Obviously, it doesn't work 100% because he can still threat. Okay, so first problem is these null treacheries. 1/6 of the deck, non-effect treacheries. All right. Second problem is when he's adding infamy counters as Norman, he is not churning the deck at all. That means that this deck, even though it's not very large, well, no, not small exactly, it's 40 cards or 37 cards, whatever. It just takes a long time. You never see. I never see default risky business. I never see acceleration tokens show up on the main scheme because not half the time, but like a quarter of the time, he's just not getting boosts at all. Compared to Claw, who gets a double boost every turn, like you always churn through that deck, right? You run through that deck all the time, and he discards cards until he gets a minion. It's like, oh, you're gonna Claw is the acceleration, the early game acceleration, or early in the life the cycle of the game. That was the scenario that gave you acceleration. Norman's the scenario that never gives you acceleration. So first thing is he's just going to discard a card from the encounter deck every turn when he does that. So it's not a boost, but it's still churning. And then the idea here, again, in the same sense is, well, but it's still a threat. So he's adding 2 infamy counters, which is just healing, which is not too significant. But if he discards a minion or a side scheme, then he reveals it. And now, again, we've got 5 side schemes here. And if you look at his deck, he's got these security specialists, that's 4, and then these hired guns, that's 3. He's got 7 more guys. That's a lot. He's going to hit that a lot, and you're going to get a lot of minions and side schemes. So when he's Norman form, you've got to deal with, okay, he might be throwing a lot of minions at us. He'll throw out a lot of side schemes, and then he'll occasionally hit these cards and do bad things. So Norman is the state that the game wants to be in. The scenario is designed around this idea that he wants to be Norman form. He doesn't want to be Goblin. Goblin's messing up his plans. When he's Norman, he's got all his plans going. He's got all his side schemes going. He's got his minions coming out of the woodwork. He's advancing his scheme. And then Goblin shows up and suddenly is like, oh, all that stuff stops. And now you're just dealing with, he's hitting me in the face really hard all the time. So that's kind of the idea. The idea is that Norman should be the threat. Goblin is not the threat. But Norman's a different kind of threat. And he's a very indirect threat, which is how... So he's indirect because that's how Norman is supposed to be. And he's... but he's the threat because that's what the scenario is trying to do, right? Lots of boost effects that remove infamy counters or remove madness counters, right? The deck's constantly, on a day's work, just removes madness counters, right? Norman adds counters, making it harder to flip him to Goblin form. So kind of the idea is the scenario's working to keep him in Norman form. Norman form is dangerous. You don't want him to be in Norman form. It's going to mess with your control, which is also an interesting aspect of this scenario in this form, is that you can control it, but it really stretches your ability to control while he's in Norman form. So you control it by letting him flip to Goblin, but then suddenly you're taking all this damage. Now you've got to go alter ego. Then he goes back to Norman, and now suddenly you're dealing with this issue of, oh, now he's double scheming, right? It's, about as bad as when Assault is making him scheme, right? Now he's going to scheme, and then he's going to scheme an extra time. So you don't want to get caught with him in Norman while you're in alter ego. But usually you can just flip to alter ego while he's Goblin form, then he'll flip himself to Norman, and then you might have to deal with the scheme, right? Which feels about right to me. Now this is, so that's 1, 2. Okay, third thing. So, as I mentioned, there's this idea that he's going to be pushing threat while he's in Norman form, even though you're in hero form, because that's where you can deal with threat. Final thing is that when he flips to Goblin form, you get hit immediately, and then you keep getting hit, right? So when you flip to Norman form, you're going to keep getting hit. What about getting hit immediately? So that's the last change that I made here. It's to Criminal Enterprise. When it's revealed, you get a side scheme. So when he flips back, you get a side scheme. And now, this kind of final bow to tie it all together is to make his side schemes interesting. His side schemes, in the default Risky Business, are boring. They're just icons with 2 per player threat. So instead of that, I've adjusted each of them in a way that I feel is thematic towards what it is. So Collapsing Bridge is an opportunity for Norman to do a little bit of damage even when he's Norman. So Norman's doing lots of these schemes, and one of the schemes is to collapse a bridge on you, which makes you take some indirect damage. Because, you know, the bridges are always, when they're collapsing, the heroes are always getting hurt and all that stuff, so that works. It just deals a boost icon of indirect damage. Again, still helping with the encounter deck churn, because Goblin's still not churning, so we still want a little bit more of that. And a little bit of damage, so that you're never completely safe. This is just a remove safety. It's a one-off card. Is it going to come up? Who knows? Then Payoff. Payoff is an attempt to double down on the kind of intimidation, the interesting mechanic of he gets extra face-down boost cards, and then suddenly, now when he activates, it's going to be even worse. So he just gets a face-down boost card here. It's a hazard with a face-down boost card. And then finally, Oscorp Manufacturing is just some extra threat. So it's an acceleration icon, but it's also a bit of extra threat. Again, discarding a card, helping with encounter deck churn. So all in all, we've got a lot more encounter deck churn, so he's not going to just stall out. And you've got all these side schemes to deal with, but they're still really low threat side schemes. So the idea here, ideally, is that you're going to get a lot of things that aren't too tough. You know, his minions, they're not tough minions. 4 health, 3 health, they're pretty weak minions. And so it's kind of a little swarmy, a little bit mutation formula-like in that, which is nice, tying the kind of those together mechanically, because it's another scenario that's going to just throw a lot of stuff at you constantly you have to deal with. So maybe you want to flip him to Goblin. But then, if you're flipping him to Goblin all the time, a lot of these cards are not actually that different. This is not a substantial difference. There's like four cards that have changed if you're just constantly keeping him on Goblin form. You can't hold him there all the time. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you won't hit any of these cards that remove madness counters. Usually, though, he'll flip back to Norman at some point. And that's when things can get a little interesting, because now you have threat to deal with in addition to damage, kind of like a normal scenario. Right? The thing that makes Risky Business kind of weird is that you're either dealing with damage or you're dealing with threat. Although, default, you're dealing with damage or you're dealing with nothing. And that's where his weakness comes from, right? Either you're dealing with threat or you're dealing with Criminal Enterprise building up tokens. And it's kind of like, well, that didn't matter, so I don't care. Now you're dealing with either damage or you're dealing with threat. You get to choose, but the idea is both of them can be kind of overwhelming. Hopefully neither of them is so overwhelming that you can't handle it, as long as you keep him under control. So that's the idea. And I've mentioned, I think, on the forums, so this is a hard version of Risky Business. Risky Business is an easy scenario. This is not an easy scenario. It can get out of hand. I don't feel like it's too bad. It's not all surgy and messy like that. I think probably one of these 3 avenues that I'm attacking it at could be toned down or removed. At this point, looking at it together here, talking through it, I think that's probably what could happen. I've played it a few times. If you play it with a middling strong hero, I think it works out. I've beaten it plenty of times, but I've also lost to it with some of the weaker heroes, or just heroes that struggle with certain things. So one example is I played through all the scenarios with Rocket and Thor, and we couldn't beat Risky Business. This was the scenario that stuck us. We beat every other scenario except for, so we have modifications of Galaxy's Most Wanted. We'll talk about that sometime later. But I've modified Nebula and Ronin to be easier, and so I think this is actually, with those modifications, maybe the second hardest scenario that I actually regularly play. The hardest being Thanos. It's pretty much the hardest scenario that I play, because any other scenarios that were harder than that, I've toned down. Because Venom Goblin, I haven't quite settled on how to play it yet. But yeah, so if you're into that kind of thing, I think this can be a fun scenario. If you're not into that kind of thing, I think this could still be a fun scenario, but maybe you just want to remove one of these avenues. But anyways, let's do it. Let's give you a chance to see how this goes. So we've got hostile takeover as normal. I will warn you, of course, because this scenario applies so much pressure, if this advances, you're in a lot of trouble. The second stage of this scheme is no joke. Alright, let's see what we can do. Where are we at? Alright, hey, it's our helmet. We don't want our helmet. Right, we search our discard pile. No helmet. Unleashing the Nova Force is not useful at this stage. These cards let us flip him. Do we want to flip him right away? That's a good question. Why don't we let him stay Norman for a minute, and we can just see, gives people a chance to see what this looks like. So, crazy thing. All right. So draw 4 more cards. Oh, good, wild. Make sure I shuffled that. Oh yeah, I did totally. Okay. This is great. This is great. So, first thing we're going to do is we will spend a wild resource. I guess it's 2 resources either way. Did I not run any wilds in this deck? I think I normally have a few wilds. That puts his helmet into play. So we've got Nova with his helmet. 1, 2, 3 is Hone Technique. Why did I spend that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna just punch him. Ready this. Light speed flight. We'll zero that out so that he shouldn't be advancing it. Criminal Enterprise is a single threat, and we'll just see how Norman goes. I am not going to hold Force Field Protection because that's not a useful card. I'm going to hold Snow Guard because she's pretty cool. I can play her next turn. Or maybe we'll do something else. We'll see. One of the things I did think about this at a time is this is a fun opportunity for Dive Bomb because he gets more minions out, and maybe we'll see. We'll get to use UNF Dive Bomb crazy times. All right, 1 threat. Norman attacks instead, but when he would attack, instead he places 2 counters and discards the top card. If it's a side scheme, this is, he puts into play with 4 threat. What is this? I don't know why that has 4 threat on it. Did it have 4 threat the whole time? Anyways. Ignore me. Okay, and then he gets another thing, and it's advance, so he schemes for 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, a lot of threat. Ah, crap, we have a side scheme. I don't want that side scheme there. This could be bad. Okay, I think we're going to unleash the Nova Force. Could work here. If we unleash the Nova Force... shoot. Maybe it does. Can I play Snow Guard? If I unleash the Nova Force? 1, 2, 3, no. Darn. Could have used a minion instead of a side scheme there. Getting a side scheme and advance is rough. Rough start. Tell you what. I can only hit Criminal Enterprise. trouble is, I really need to thwart this, but I can't. Darn it, I should play Snow Guard last turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, play Snow Guard. Snow Guard can thwart for 3, and then I could thwart for 1. And ready this, and then I could spend it to play Annihilation Overforce. That doesn't work. I could pitch back, but that's just a bunch of overkill damage. If this counted, that'd be great. This is why you don't leave him in Norman for a turn. It sucks. Alright. That's unfortunate. Alright. I think I need to flip him. It's my only hope. So guess we just play pitch back. So that flips this card. Oh, hold on. I can do better than that. I think I can still play her. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snow Guard. We're going to give her 2 counters because I need some thwart. Wrong key there. Alright. Then I punch him for 1. Readies this. And then I use this to pitch back. Knock him over to... Oops. Green Goblin form, and I immediately take 4 indirect damage, which I'll just take to the face. And then I will use Snow Guard to remove some threat. Alrighty. Told you, risky business. Oh, good. 1 threat. It's Chansey. I really want one of those UNFs back. I can't get them back. Scary. Alright, he's going to hit me. That's fine. I could defend this, but I think I want to thwart. Yeah, Locust can't thwart. Yeah. Okay. So he immediately drops one of those. Thanks. Thanks, Goblin. And he hits me for 5. So we're going to block 3 of that. I take 2 damage. He takes 3 damage. And I get a single encounter card. Oh no, it's a collapsing bridge. That's terrible. 0. Thanks. Glad to get no indirect damage. Oh man. Oh man. I don't know about this. I think I lost this game. Shoot, I don't know. Do I even want Angela? Man, I wish I had an attack. Okay. Angela seems relatively safe, so we're going to use Angela. She's going to search the top 10 cards. For a minion. We could get Spot, Electro, or this hired gun. We're going to take the hired gun, because we don't want a hired gun. Thanks. And then we're going to spend Power of Aggression to play Locust. We're going to search our deck for something we can use. Add 1 aggression event from my discard into my hand. So, I mean, I only have a couple here. I'm going to grab one of my moments of triumph because I'm going to need to heal. And I am sadly in a terrible place as far as things go. I'm actually going to use up the locust to thwart that for one, so that it does not advance. And Angela is just going to deal 2 damage to this guy. And we'll discard this other hone technique. And we will draw back to a full hand size. Hey, we got a connection to the world mind. Oh, good, we got a no quarter. That will be helpful. Alright, goblins attacking me. I'm going to block this with Angela, because I really think I need to remove 3 threat. I have a moment of triumph with a no quarter, so I should actually be okay. Okay. Get rid of an advance, that's pretty good. I take 2 damage. I get a single encounter card. It's another hired gun. That's another, or that's a boost card for him. Okay, still not bad. Not a bad situation to be in, I don't think. Unfortunately, I'm going to just burn through all my Nova cards here. I really wish I could have UNF, but I don't. So, I have a few options. Honestly, one of them would be to dive bomb. I could dive bomb, I could heal for 4. Alternatively, I could dive bomb and I could heal for 10, killing all of them. I could no quarter and heal for 6 minus 1 is 5. I could heal 5 off of no quarter, possibly get more cards. I could pitch back to kill the other hired gun. And still be able to do other stuff, such as play a champion's mobile bunker. Let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I feel like that's better for me. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to spend 2. It's going to include dive bomb. We're not going to be dive bombing yet. We're going to no quarter this hired gun for 6 damage. Because of hone technique adding the cost, so that's 5 excess damage. We're going to use moment of triumph. Deal 5. Is that after you attack and defeat? I don't know. We deal 6 damage. That's 5 excess damage. He's discarded. We discard the top 5 cards. Right? Discard. Top 5 cards. 3, 4, 5. And we lose those 3. And we keep these 2. Okay. And then we play this. Heals us for 5. And I think I'm going to play Pitchback, and then I'm going to play Brawn. So we're going to Pitchback. That deals 4 damage to this guy, so he's gone. We're going to thwart for 1, which ready Supernova Helmet. 1, 2, 3 for Brawn. Brawn is going to punch and thwart, and then Snowguard is going to spend the rest of her health to drop that down to 1. Okay. Whew. Recovered. Oh, look. Thwarting cards. Endurance. Alright, he's hitting me for 4 at the double boost. I could die. I'm going to defend. 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's rules that say when he flips, his attack is now 0, and so he'd only be hitting me for 3. Honestly, with this scheme, you could do that. I would not object to anybody actually following the rules on that particular matter. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minus 2 is 5. I take 5 damage. Such is life. And then, all in a day's work, he schemes for 2, 3, and a single counter. So, yeah. Toughy. Let's see, we've got brawn, we've got this. I think what I want to do is 1, 2 for no quarter. That's going to hit him for 6, which the only real point of this, oh shoot, I can't. Well, I can. Okay, so the issue is yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Means I won't be able to use brawn, huh? I need one more resource. I need to not have defended that, but if I hadn't defended that, I would be dead. So that's how life works. Oh, I didn't. I didn't run martial prowess. Oh my gosh, I totally screwed up this deck. All right, I don't see a way around this. I have to flip him. So we're gonna do that. He does 4 indirect damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. I spend Connection to the World Mind. Wait, did I have Connection to the World Mind in my hand? I didn't draw any cards, right? I spend Connection to the World Mind to play Lightspeed Flight. I could play that with a double resource. I still have this. I still have this. I spent this instead to play no quarter because I didn't need the extra damage. Alright. I play that with Connection to the World Mind. Removing 3 threat. We're going to keep Brawn around for a second. Oh. So I still have to make up my mind. I think I'm going to hold Lightspeed Flight, and I'm just going to use this to play Endurance. Give me some hit points. Alright. 6 card hand. That's an extra encounter card. Alright. 1 threat. Green Goblin does not scheme. He just drops 1. Green Goblin's hard enough. Alright. Bombshell comes out. And then Payoff, which gives him an extra boost card. And has 2 threat. Now what I could really go for is UNF. I could really go for a UNF. What's going on? I'm alter ego. Okay. I recover. Because I kind of have to. Flipped arrow form. I would love to have the ability to like do actual stuff. This is only at 3 threat. That's not super dangerous, I guess. I can't clear this otherwise. It's really unfortunate that I got side scheming here. All threats gone. Okay, here's the deal. I could play pot shot and then have all this extra stuff left over. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and play dive bomb and hit him for 11. He had 15, right? 14? 15. I think he had 15. And her. Because dive bomb, hold technique is so good. Alright, we've got Brawn to block for us. We'll hold pot shot. And maybe we can just win the game. Oh, I have forceful protection. That's fun. Alright. Green Goblin attacks. Brawn defends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage to Brawn. That's my boy. Block that hit. Right, 1 card. It's gang up. He attacks me anyways. The jerk. I don't want to defend. Darn it. Darn it. Alright, he flips back. But as mentioned, I still have him hit me for 4 in this scenario. So I'm going to force field projection it. Not with power progression. Let's use my helmet. So we're going to force field projection that. We block 3. So I only take 1. And then we deal 3, which flips him, and I take 4. Oh shoot, I've not been doing this. That's the second time he's flipped, and I'm not doing this. Yeah, we're not going to do that. I take it back. Just play with normal thing here. It's enough. Alright. Don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing. You can just ignore me. I don't want to thwart. Thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4 is snow guard. Again in thwarting mode, because that's just what I need pretty consistently. I'm going to flip Taldrigo and recover for 3. Snow guard is going to thwart for 3. So anyways, yeah, I totally, this is hard to remember. Probably good enough reason not to include it anyways. Alrighty, 1 threat. He does his scheming thing, which is to reduce that by 1. And I get Sandman. If Sandman takes any amount of damage from an attack, discard the top 7 cards of the encounter deck. Whew. You're a toughie. Alright, so how do I want to do that? How much health can I heal? I have 10, 13. I could heal 8. If I dive bomb him, I heal 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. I could do that. I could punch Goblin and pitch back him for 4. And then I could dive bomb him and heal the full. That might be kind of nice. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to punch him for 1. And then spend that on pitchback, which does 5 damage, actually. And then I ready my helmet, because these are both responses. I use this response first, then I use this response. 1, 2, 3, 4. For a dive bomb, I'm going to hit Sandman primarily. I'm going to take a bunch of damage from this, aren't I? Yep. Well, that's fine. Good time to do it. Alright. I hit Sandman for 11. So 2 of that, because I used a mental, right? Yeah, mental. So 9, overkill of 9. As a response to that, I think, maybe. I don't know how this all times out. Whatever. I'm going to heal 9. I can't heal 9 because I only have 8 hit points. Then I deal 1 damage to each other enemy, which is 5 damage. That defeats him. And that reveals this goblin. And he deals 4 damage to me. And then Snow Guard clears that. And I still have a light speed flight. I don't think I actually want to hold it. On second thought, I should have spent that instead of no quarter, maybe? He has 22 hit points. Alright. I did not get to do my normal build. It's been a really weird game. But I think it's going to be okay. 1 threat. He attacks me, Snow Guard defends, and I get Spot. Okay, I take 1 damage from Spot. A Sealing counter card. Green Goblin attacks the hero with the fewest hit points remaining. Thanks, Goblin. Alright, let's just take it. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ugh. It's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a dive bomb. A moment of triumph, I can't. I don't have the resources. Because I haven't been able to play any of my resource cards. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna just hang on to Miss Marvel, I think. Dive bomb this guy for 11 damage with a moment of triumph. So we're gonna heal 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And deal 5 incidental damage to Green Goblin. He was defeated with excess damage, so he doesn't get to shuffle back into the deck. Unfortunate as that is. And we're just going to punch him for 1. And hey, we have a helmet and Miss Marvel, and we can't play her. So, I don't know. Do I want Miss Marvel? Maybe I should hold on to. What was my other option? I'm going to hold on to No Quarter. No Quarter is 6 damage on the villain. That's pretty good. Discard Miss. So we paid Miss Marvel instead. Alright. Ready all my cards. Draw to 5. Hope against hope that I don't die. Hey, I could unleash the Nova Force finally. Alright, that's why you cleared it to 0. Alright. Anyways. He punches me for 4 plus a boost. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Please don't kill me. Okay. That's great. I am happy to see you. Okay, here's the deal. We can't build this game, so that's not what we're doing. We're going to unleash the Nova Force instead. Then we're going to light speed flight. We're not going to light speed flight. That would be ridiculous. We're going to thwart for 1. All I did so far was unleash the Nova Force, right? Okay. We're going to spend a wild and that to play No Quarter, which does 6 damage to this guy. 4. 2 is overkill. Discard the top 2 cards of our deck. Take any aggression cards revealed. Discard the rest. And because we defeated a minion, we ready Nova. Oh. Hit 1 instead of Q. Ready Nova and draw a card. Then we thwart for 1. As a response, we ready this, and we ready Nova and draw a card. Hey, it's Angela. I bet she can find somebody. Cut. Okay. Well, we've at least got a private security specialist, but that's not my favorite thing. Got anybody in here with fewer hit points? Electro? Yes, please. Let's get Electro. Because I don't have any attacks right now. Angela went and found Electro. So 1, 2, I guess, for martial prowess. Angela punches Electro for 2 damage. I punch Electro, defeating Electro, readying my helmet, readying Nova, and drawing a card. Aww. And then I punch Goblin for 1. I'm going to just hold all this, because I think it seems useful. He's going to hit me for 4 plus a boost. 4, 5, 6, 7 minus 3 is still 4. Still 4. My other force field projection's gone. I don't know. I can defend. I'm going to have to defend. Alright, so I get to draw 4 more cards, because this doesn't count, and that one doesn't count either. There we go. I finally got all our stuff. Alright, Goblin's attacking me. I exhaust to defend. He does 6 damage, minus 2 is 4 damage. And we force field project. Cancel 3 of that damage and deal 3 back to him. And then, since I just used my defense, I get to ready my helmet. And finally, I get all in a day's work. No surprise there. All right. So that flips him back to Norman form. All right. That is not a huge surprise. My problem, though, is that I'm about dead. So we're going to unleash the Nova Force. Oh, shoot. I can't exhaust the thwart. We're going to spend 2 resources to play Champion's Mobile Bunker. Champion's Mobile Bunker is going to draw us 2 cards. And discard 1. Really? Really unleash the Nova Force? He just does straight 4 damage. I don't have a ready. Darn. Two, I think. We'll go with that. 2. We're going to play Locust. The Locust retrieves 1. Anyways. Locust is going to do 1 damage. Then we're going to flip to Alter Ego because we have to recover. I don't really have a choice here. What did I spend those 2 cards on? I don't remember. Oh, this. Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen at that point. 3 cards. Oh, one of Connection to the World one, and another Connection to the World mine. Awesome. Oh, shoot, he's going to scheme. Well, things could go bad here. Alright, he schemes for 3 plus a boost. 3. 1, 2, 3. He didn't finish it. Yay! I get an encounter card. It's Oscorp Manufacturing. 2 threat. And then it discards this card and adds 1 more to the main scheme. Look at that. Didn't complete it. That's hero action, thanks. Okay. We heal 3. Flip to hero form. That's fine. I think he's dead. 1, 2. Oh no, sorry. Whoever wants to. Locust. You want to do it? Okay, Locust does 1 damage, which is enough to flip him to Goblin form. When he flips to Goblin form, he does 4 damage. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 for a dive bomb for 11 damage. Which I follow up with a pitchback for 4 damage, and then I can play a pot shot for 4 damage. I can play another pitchback for 4 more damage. So I get 8, 12 extra damage. Completely destroyed. Oh, that's what I could have done. Could have drawn 2 cards. Hey, there's a Lightspeed Flight. Look at that. So I could have thwarted and thwarted and thwarted. Okay. Anyways, that's the end of it. Because I could have unleashed the Nova Force. I didn't unleash the Nova Force because I couldn't thwart. Not that it mattered. Victory was in hand at that point. But, whew. So that is my change to Green Goblin, minus this 1 change that I didn't even enact. I think it's fine. You don't leave him on Goblin. So that's... I showed off at least what it looks like when you leave him in Norman form for a turn at the start of the game. Which sometimes you have to do. It creates what I think is a pretty winnable game. It's definitely hectic. It feels crazy. He doesn't have that many hit points. You kind of want to rush him down because things are getting out of hand and he hits so hard. And it's just tough. It's a tough game. Green Goblin has printed 4 attack. 4 is a big number if you haven't played him much. But it's made kind of okay because you can go to Alter Ego and it's not like he's going to scheme out. It's like he's going to flip back to Norman. But then with these additions, it's like he's going to flip back to Norman. This is not good. We can't let him stay Norman. We got to keep getting him back. So anyways, that's it. That's the game that I have here. That's the way that I play it, and I think it's fun. I think it's a fun change. I think it's a different kind of scenario. It's not as gameable. It's not as gameable as the Crisis icon even, which is my biggest issue with that one. As I mentioned, that it's just a little bit gameable because once you deal with the threat, then you just kind of just hang out in hero mode with him as Norman, anyways, and then occasionally flip him to Goblin so you can deal with the threat. But you saw I got Hone Technique out turn 1, and then I didn't get any of my other setup stuff out. There was just always stuff to deal with. Just doesn't give you much time to relax. But it's not, it's not like Thanos hard. It's not, at least I don't think it is. I think with this change, this one maybe makes it a little harder. Certainly ups the ante. But I mean, he can also just whiff, and he never gets his cards, and it's just, he can give you a really easy game when that kind of thing happens. But hopefully, it's interesting. So, if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe. If you want, I'm going to leave a link to the cards for this. I put them up on a Google Drive, so you can check them out if you want to, if you like doing that kind of thing. I don't really know how people play with those. Obviously, you can import them in Tabletop Simulator. I don't have that as a mod. I don't even know how to export objects. If someone wants to point me to something that explains how to do that, I guess I could do something. I could export it and upload it. I don't know. I don't have like a workshop or anything, so I don't even know if you can do that. Whatever. If there's a way to do it, hey, let me know. If you're interested, that's cool. Otherwise, yeah. Next time we'll go back to some Doctor Strange and Hulk. It'll be a little bit more like this, where we've got some more heavy house ruling going on, and we'll work through some more of those alternate precons. Unless I get like some overwhelming feedback that says no, don't go back to alternate precons. But my thought at this point, my kind of plan in the back of my mind, is to do some more alternate precons, and then maybe do Galaxy's Most Wanted. I've overhauled like all of the Galaxy's Most Wanted scenarios in a similar fashion to this. So if you like this, if you want to see more of that, that's on the way. If you're just like, hey, stop doing homebrew content, I don't know. I like homebrew stuff. I like tweaking things, obviously. So anyways, that's all I got. See you guys next time.